Hi guys, it's Angie Bell with HerballyHipTarot. How's my Herbally Hip tribe doing out there? Just a second. Sorry about that, you guys. Okay. This is for entertainment purposes only, and everything we say here is allegedly. And you know what? I'm gonna start trying to ask this at the beginning of my videos. I think you're gonna, if you're new to my channel, I think you're gonna like it here. So if you can, before you forget, can you sub to my channel, please? Just hit that sub button. Thank you. Okay. We're going to read about Kamala'S soul contract. I said that yesterday. So what is her main purpose of being on this earth at this time? Or for her whole lifetime? And Biden's soul contract. So, let's find out what cards we should use. Okay. Clear. Spirit. Open read on Kamala'S soul contract. Should I use Twin Flame Awakened Path Tarot? Okay. So we're going to use the Twin Flame Awakened Path Tarot. That was a big one for that. Okay. Clear. Spirit, should we use Twin Flame Awakened Tarot for Biden's soul contract? Okay. Spirit says to use Twin Flame Awakened Path Tarot for both readings. Okay? All right, so let me shuffle these up. I'll shuffle them up off camera, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we're reading about Kamala'S soul contract first. Nine of Swords. Five of Pentacles in the center. And 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let's read about Kamala'S soul contract. Her purpose of being in this lifetime. Nine of Swords. Sleepless nights, anxiety and depression, breaking point, negativity. Oh, that's not starting out good. All right, let's see. Let's keep going. Well, that does make sense. When she lost that election, I'm sure she had sleepless nights, anxiety, some depression, a breaking point, and negativity. And when she ran for Attorney General, same thing happened to her. She lost originally and then fought it and found out, I believe that whoever she was running against cheated. Or there was a miscount. I can't remember what the answer was. But yeah, she had to go through this before. Okay, Five of Pentacles. So it was a part of her soul contract to go through the stealing of this election. And the other one that she had too. With the Attorney General. But being President of the United States. That's crazy. Okay, Five of Pentacles. Hardships and loss, isolation, abandonment, unemployed, and struggle. Okay, again, about losing this presidency. Getting it stolen. Losing, I mean. Okay, losing of the presidency. The stolen presidency. Ace of Cups. New love. And you know what? Maybe one of those was for the, when she became AG, and one was for the presidency, because she went through all these emotions twice. Okay. Ace of Cups. New love and feelings, emotional awakening, intuition, and spirituality. Okay. So, okay, when they say new love and feelings, I'm saying that, I'm thinking that her husband, Doug, so, she was, in her contract, it was to get married. And I think she's very intuitive, and I think she is spiritual also. I know that I believe she's religious too, but you can be spiritual and use your intuition. And I think that's what it's saying. And it also says emotional awakening. So she should experience an emotional awakening also. Okay. Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords, clarity and truth. Clarity and truth. New ideas. Victory and triumph. Again, this goes along with these. Okay? That she experienced all of that, the hardship, the sleepless nights, the anxiety, the depression, the negativity. She experienced that. But at the same time, she knew that she was going to find clarity and truth, new ideas, victory, and triumph. So even though her election's been an attempt to have her election stolen as AG and as President of the United States, she's still saying going to be victorious, victory and triumph, clarity and truth. Okay? And she's going to be a part of letting people know what the truth is. Beautiful. Empress. Divine feminine, motherhood, nurturing. Beautiful. And you need that Empress energy to be President of the United States. You need, and she has it, you need that, and I've said it a million times, but you need a balance of feminine and masculine energy. Four of Swords. Taking a break, relaxation, peace, self-reflection, resting. All this is talking right now about this point of her life. She was taking a break. She was relaxing. She had some self-reflection to do and some resting. Because she knows what lies ahead for her is President of the United States. And that's a lot of work. Three of Swords. Heartbreak and pain, separation and grief, sorrow and trauma. Now, I'm not thinking she experienced that with this election. She experienced this when she was AG, and I'm sure she's experienced heartbreak, pain, separation, grief, sorrow, and trauma in other parts of her life too. But it really seems that this reading is really pointing towards this whole presidency being stolen from her. And also, it's touching on when she was running for AG, of that attempt for it to get stolen from her also. She fought it, and then she won like 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, something like that. Wheel of Fortune. Fate, positive changes, cycles and changes. Again, positive changes. And this is her fate. Her fate is to be President of the United States. That is her fate. And positive changes is what's happening right now. Even though it doesn't feel like it, there's positive changes happening right now. Things are organically lining up, right? And right now we're at the phase of Orange Menace exposing himself on a daily basis. Lots of MAGA realizing, oh, he's not a good person. Okay. Eight of Pentacles. Commitment, dedication, work, and effort. So in her life contract, she said that she would be committed, dedicated, and work. Commitment, dedication, work, and effort. And doesn't that sound like her? Throughout her whole life, she's been like that. Eight of Cups. Walking away, letting go, leaving behind. And what I see about this is she's walking away. She let go and left behind the feelings, all those horrible feelings that she felt. The Five of Pentacles and the Nine of Swords. She's like, okay, I felt these feelings. I've got to leave those behind so I can move forward, right? The Magician. Manifestation, willpower, resourceful. This is beautiful. Okay. She's manifesting. It was part of her soul contract to manifest what she wants in her life. And what she wanted was to, what she really wants is to help people, right? She wants to be of service to people. And that's why she became a lawyer. Then she became an AG, so that she could be of service to people. It really wasn't to be president of the United States. It was to be of service. And she has the magician in her, which is beautiful, because that's a manifestation. She can manifest what she wants for her life. We can all manifest what we want for our lives. But she came here purposely to manifest what she wants and what she wanted in her life. And that was to be of service to people. And what better way to be of service to people than to be president of the United States? It looks like she did, she went through some sorrow, some pain, some anxiety, a little bit of depression after she lost that election. Also, when she lost the presidential election and when she lost the AG. And then she got the AG position after she fought. Now she's going to be fighting again. She's been fighting underground. And she'll be back there, as we've read. She'll be our president, as we keep reading over and over and over. But yeah, this whole thing, and for her to experience these losses was a part of her soul contract. To have lost the presidency and the AG, it was part of her soul contract. It was also part of her soul contract to leave those things behind and to fight. Okay? A part of her soul contract was to always be a hard worker, to be dedicated and committed. Also to get married, which I think was awesome, because that's what it says right here. Why do I have my readers on? New love and feelings. And also, part of her soul contract was to get married. So she found her love, Doug. To have an emotional awakening. I think she's had several of those through her life. We've seen 2 of them. The 2 losses that she supposedly had. Intuition and spirituality. And that's also part of her, was in her soul contract. To use her intuition and her spirituality. And this is how you guys know. This card here. It says Ace of Swords. Clarity and truth. New ideas. Victory and triumph. Victory and triumph is the main thing I'm looking at here. She had victory and triumph the first time that it was basically stolen from her. She fought it. She's fighting now, but she had to do it a little differently. Okay? And she's going to be victorious again. So this reading is beautiful because it's telling us that where she's at and what she's experienced, this is her soul contract. And she will be victorious again. Beautiful reading. Beautiful. Okay. Let me shuffle and then we'll read about Biden's soul contract. Okay? Right back. All right. So we're going to do Biden's soul contract now. Did I cut these in 3? I don't think I did. 1, 2, 3. Okay. 8 of Pentacles. And center. 9 of Pentacles. And okay, so 8 of Pentacles, Biden's soul contract. Commitment, dedication, work, and effort. What's crazy is Kamala and him both got this card because he's very committed, dedicated, work effort. Beautiful. 9 of Pentacles. Efforts and success, achievement, independence, self-sufficiency. Wonderful. Knight of Cups. I mean, has there been any president that's ever had more success and achievements? Oh my God! As far as like being he was a senator for I don't know how long. He became a senator in his late 30s. In his 30s, I'll just say in his 30s. I can believe he became a senator. And he was a senator for a long time, and then he became vice president, and then he became president. I don't know if there's not that many politicians that are as highly qualified as him. Talking about that, Kamala is highly qualified also. Not as high, I would say he's more just because he's had more time. He's way older, okay? He was a senator for ever. And then he became vice president and then president. But she, college educated, lawyer, became the AG of California, became a senator, one of the senators of California, and then became Vice President of the United States. Knight of Cups. Charming and idealist. Determined, tactful, and graceful. Doesn't that sound like him? Nine of Swords. Determined, tactful, graceful, idealist, charming. And doesn't that sound like him? Yeah, totally. Nine of Swords. Sleepless nights, anxiety, depression, breaking point, negativity. How I shuffled these 8 times, okay, and then cut them 3. That is the same card that Kamala got, and I think when he had this anxiety, depression, breaking point, negativity, and sleepless nights, from what we all know, his wife and his daughter were killed in a car accident. Absolutely horrendous. So, sorry to say, that is horrible, but, that was a part of his contract for all that to have happened to him. And then his son, Bo, died, too, so I'm sure he went through that again. He died of cancer, brain cancer, I believe. 3 of Swords. Heartbreak and pain, separation and grief, sorrow and trauma. Again, this was such a part of his life that he always refers back to when he makes speeches, when he's telling people he understands grief. Because when his daughter and his wife died, and when his son Bo died later in life, he felt heartbreak, pain, separation, grief, sorrow, and trauma. Can you imagine losing your wife and your daughter? His daughter was little, very little. I think 1 or 2 years old. I'm not exactly sure her age, but she was a little girl. And his wife. And then later in life to lose your son. And it's so crazy that we got 2 cards in a row about heartbreak. But that was the biggest part of his life, and that was one of the most those were the most painful parts of his life, and he talks about them all the time to let people know, I know what you're feeling, because he's very good at having empathy for people and sympathy for people. Queen of Wands, opposite of our president now. He has no empathy for anyone. Queen of Wands. Passionate, determined, attractive, confident, self-assured, charismatic. Beautiful. Page of Cups. And all those things. I guess he said he's very attractive. But passionate. He's passionate about government. He loves government, right? He's confident. He's self-assured. You have to be self-assured and have some confidence about yourself. If you stutter and you still run for public office, and he's charismatic. Okay. Page of Cups. Dreamer. Naive. Dreamer and naive. Innocence. Inner child. Head in the clouds. Beautiful. I think if you're going to do something like have a goal of running for president of the United States, you have to be a dreamer, and you have to have your heads a little bit in the clouds, because who the hell thinks that they are worthy or smart enough to be president of the United States? You need to be a dreamer and a little naive. Okay, so it was part of his contract too, to run and to be the president of the United States, to be the vice president, to be a senator for years. 7 of Pentacles. Harvest and rewards, results and growth, progress and patience, planning and focus. How many times has that happened in his life? All the things I just mentioned, he planted his harvest and he got rewards, okay? Being a senator for umpteen many years, that was harvest and rewards right there. Results and growth, the same thing. Progress and patience. planning and focus. For his whole career that he had to do all those things, right? Look, I mean, patience. He didn't become president until way later in his life. It's a long time to wait towards the end of your life to be president. Queen of Swords. Honest and fair. Cutthroat. Objective and truthful. Independent. That's so him. He's honest and fair. But when he needs to be cutthroat, he is. Objective and truthful. Independent. So that was part of his contract. All of this is part of his soul contract. I love it. Page of Swords. And then we can see it in his life, how these things are agreeing. The cards are. Page of Swords. Curious and witty. Chatty and gossip. Communicating. Finding information. All those things. Curious and witty. Chatty. I don't know about gossip or not. Communication. You have to be a good communicator. And some people would say he's not as good of a communicator as a lot of presidents are. But he did a good enough job to be president. And finding information. When I'm seeing that, he's had to find a lot of information. But the biggest thing of finding information has been this election. This last election. When they stole the election, he had to find a lot. Him and his team and all of them, and Kamala, they had to find a lot of information, a lot of evidence to find out what the heck exactly happened. Eight of Swords. So it was a part of his contract to be president. It was a part of his contract. It's a part of his contract to be president and to pass it on to Kamala. And then in the end, have to stick with it and help her because it got stolen. That's that finding information part. Eight of Swords. Trapped and restricted, victimized and helpless, powerless and blinded. Okay, I guess that's what it's telling us in life. In life, he was going to go through just like when his wife and his daughter died and his son Bo. There's going to be parts of his life that he agreed to go through, feeling trapped sometimes, restricted sometimes, victimized sometimes, helpless, powerless, and blinded. And don't we all? That's probably in all of our life contracts. When have we've all felt trapped, restricted, victimized, helpless, powerless, and blinded. So that's a full life. You're gonna go through all that. But this is beautiful, yeah. And it totally describes what we've seen. So what he's going through is his soul contract. So what I'm getting from both of them is that we can, this can give us solace that this was supposed to happen. The Orange Menace was supposed to steal this election, but he wasn't supposed to get away with it. And that they were supposed to go back in there, okay, fix his mess. And her final thing was she's supposed to be president, okay? He was supposed to be president. So, and she was even supposed to have her presidency and her AG stolen from her. They agreed on all that. And then to fight for it. Crazy. Crazy. Crazy good. Okay, you guys, that's it for this one. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd love for you to do so. If you can give this video a thumbs up. Anything you want me to read on, leave it below. Do something to make yourself happy today. Yeah, love, peace, and happiness. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.